Right, guys, how are we all doing? So, gold Technics. Who owns a pair on here then? Comment down below if you own a pair. If you don't own a pair, who wants a pair? Who would really like a pair of these but is on the fence? Who would love a pair of these but isn't bothered and has a bog standard pair of Mark 2s, Mark 5s, etc. and is happy with the fact they've got a set of decks and isn't bothered about the fact that they're gold? That'd be me, right? I'm not fussed about having gold Technics. They are lovely, don't get me wrong. I've had many come through the doors over the years that are in outstanding condition. You know, cosmetically, functionality-wise, everything. Outstanding condition with basic parts needed to service work to get them back up to their love and working order. Now, upon occasion, I do get the odd pair that comes in for customization. This is one of the pairs. So we've got one plinth here. There's another one right above as well, top of my workstation. They've been here for about a year and a half. Some parts were needed. Anyone that doesn't know about these decks in general, the 1200 limited. So we've got gold plating on just about everything on here. You usually get gold plaques. The plaques have been removed on here. The parts are down here. I'm going to show you in a minute. But these are coming for some refurb work just to give them a bit of love more than anything. So we've got the satin gold dust wrap. I'm not going to take them out the bag because I want to keep them nice and clean. But satin gold dust wrap has been applied on both plimps. It's gone down beautifully. The original finish on these decks is actually piano key black. Now, if they're really bad, keeping them clean is a bloody nightmare, to be totally honest. So if you've ever seen, as an example, Samsung TVs, where they had the horrible thing where they've got that nasty piano key black that when you put a microfiber cloth on them, it scuffs and scratches them, and you get these little hairline scratches. No matter how much you clean, the worse they get. These were very, very similar. Not as bad, but they were similar in the way that if you clean them, they tend to scuff. Now, I've wrapped these in satin gold dust black, as I just stated, by 3M. We've got the original style graphics. I'm going to say style graphics because I've redesigned these and popped them in what I think looks right. I prefer it like this. So this is my take on the original graphics. Same thing goes for the pitch adjustment, the reset, and the line work. And of course the strobe dots as well. They've all been reproduced to the best I can with that. They come out extremely well. They're not going anywhere. We've then got a reproduced pitch trim. As you can see, it's not an original pitch trim, but it's a very, very good high quality copy. That's on there as well. Original trims for these, if you can still find them, are ridiculously expensive. So my honest opinion on that is buy the reproduced versions unless you're lucky enough to find these at a good price, or you just made of money and want them. So that's one thing to take into consideration if you do buy a pair of these. The problem that we've got with this one was the arm section. So these are all the parts that were taken off. Just a few parts to show you because everyone's interested in what they look like. So again, you do get this on the odd occasion. Well, they crack underneath. As you all know, it's very common with the non-gold versions of Technics. It does happen on the rare occasion with gold Technics, but it is literally game over. There is nothing we can do with that. Those of you out there will go, oh, just glue it back down. Trust me, it's not going to work. If you push that back and you adhesive that, epoxy resin it, or whatever you do, at some point, that is going to crack again. If it cracks all the way through, which you can see already on here, it's already cracked across the top, that is eventually going to snap. So that's game over. We need a new arm assembly for this, and luckily my customer has one. So we've got a tone arm tube here that I'm going to put money on being damaged and being at the wrong height because this section here has been hit. The arm would have been hit, and I'm going to get through to that in a second, but the central section being cracked here is either been yanked with the arm, so the arm I'm putting money on has definitely got damage on there and it's not been sitting at the right height, or it's been hit on the top. Now, we're very lucky because the original central sections for the pivot and bearings, these are not damaged. The bearings are still fully working. I've tested these out and they're in pretty damn good condition. So I don't think nothing has hit the top of the arm assembly, because if it had have done, you'd see it. There's no damage on the bearings. We can reuse this. It's cleaned up quite well, so we're going to reuse that. We've then got the original top section for the bracket where the pivots go through to. That's also in good condition. So that's not an issue whatsoever. We've then got the pivots on these, which I haven't cleaned yet, but the pivots are also gold plated. So that's a nice little touch. You've got the rear weights, again, gold, really nice, expensive, both in good condition. Bearings that go inside the plastic section here, that produces the up and down movement. So you've got the bearings either side of this, still fully working. We're very good. And to be honest with you, when bearings go on these, you can take the bearings out, you can remill the holes, and you can put replacement bearings in these. These tend to be a bit more easier, so to speak, than remilling bearings bearing holes for the tops, because if you get the left and right movement bearings, if you have to do it to these, not only have you got to get it pinpoint precision perfect, but if you have got to take these out, there's every chance you're going to end up scuffing the sides trying to remove the bearings. There is a way of doing this that I do. I'm not going to tell you to remove them without damaging anything, but you have to remill the hole. And if you're remilling the hole, it means eating into the gold. So there's every chance that when you start to eat in with these, it's going to start chipping and scuffing the gold. So my best advice to anybody out there that has got damaged parts like this, it's very rare, is to simply take them off, be happy you've got them, stick in a drawer, and pop yourself a new assembly on the base if the base is in good condition. Get yourself one from the Mark 7, because that'll fit straight on. That way you get the new assembly, new pivots, new bearings, new arm tube, new socket. You can do that. You can put the Red Bull Edition one on there if you're lucky enough to find them. You can put the C Series arms on there. I would just go for Mark 7s, or go for the go for the limited edition versions if you're lucky enough to find a supplier that actually can get you the arms, because they do fit straight on. And then either sell these parts, because these are still very usable parts, sell these parts, or keep them in the drawer and be happy to have them because you're the original owner if you've got them from new. That's that. Common issues you tend to find with these as well, which this isn't really common, but the common issues I tend to find because of the gold plating being microns, the tiniest amount of microns thick, is where you see what's in front of you here, where all of the gold starts to, wear away. There's not a lot you can do with these, I'm afraid. I mean, you can either have them resprayed. Again, I would take these off, pop them in a drawer with everything else, be happy that you've got them, or sell them on eBay, someone that's going to use them, and get yourself another standard set. Either buy some billet alloy replacements. I believe Technics Works sell them, so you can get them in a gold style, get them in black or something else, or have them recoated. That is another option. You can have them gold plated, but it's going to cost you a fortune to have this all gold plated. Even the plaques, as you can see, have all worn. There's not a lot we can do with these. You can have them chrome sprayed. There is a particular way of doing this, that you can chrome spray these to make them look like a nice shiny gold, but it's not the same. And this is where you start getting through that region of, is it worth doing that and spending that money on this? I would just buy a new arm assembly and pop them on. But these are the most basic things you tend to look out for, people don't really realise. So again, these buttons are quite heavily worn, and unless you're going to have them gold plated, that's pretty much end of the road. And it's either you're happy that they're in this condition and happy to have a pair, or you change everything over from units that are not gold. You can do that as well. Me, what I would tend to do is, if things are this bad, I would change everything to aftermarket. If you've already gone down to the route of having things refurbished like this, I'd be going, do you know what? Okay, let's get a black surround. We'll have black buttons, black arm from a Mark 7, and just doing that will make them look super cool. I'd be happy with that. If these were mine, I'd have a black Mark 7 assembly, maybe even take the tube section out of these and replace the central section here with the tube all in black and pop it on here. That's what I'd do. Or take the limited tube and pop that on there. So at least you've got the original bearings if you can get away with that, and do that instead. But you're still going to be looking a good few £100 for each deck to get this done. Platters as well, if you find that you've got chips and things on the platters, this one isn't too bad, to be honest. There are a few little bits that will stand out, like here. Obviously, I'm really OCD when it comes to parts being worn and scratched. I haven't cleaned any of this up before anyone starts going, oh, the platter's not very shiny. I haven't even started to look at this yet. But you can get like a flat black or a matte black, a little tiny little paintbrush, and just lightly go over it, let it dry, even buff it down a little bit, trying to merge it in. You can get away with that. There is a way of doing so. But yeah, I mean, the boards in these have been serviced. Both of these plimps have been wrapped. There's another one, like I say, above. Both have been wrapped, both boards serviced. Platters have been put on there just to keep them, in a bag, nice and clean, until we get a replacement arm. There is a replacement arm assembly, a full replacement arm assembly on its way from my customer. So we're going to be fitting that to the base. The base has been cleaned. Everything's ready to go back in. It's just going to be, re-petroleum jelly all of the threads, make sure things move nice and smoothly, and give the old parts back. So once this is done, they're going to look lovely. I mean, it hasn't obviously devalued these decks either, because if he ever sells these at any point, they've been customized. It's quite obvious they're custom. You wouldn't find a genuine pair with non-piano key black paintwork. So again, it's going to put value on these. If you're after something that's a bit special, that's had some custom work completed, this would be the pair you look at. And I'd be very happy to have these. I'm not fussed about gold turntables myself, but I would not say no to these once I've completed them. All right. You know, I think there's not many people out there that wouldn't agree. If you got offered a pair of these and, you know, if money wasn't the object and you were looking for a pair of Technics, I would go for a pair of these. If we've got the Mark 7 arms on the buttons, I think that'd be a nice little touch. But in general, looking out for these, if you were going to buy them, you know, if you're going to buy them from a private seller, you're looking at the same parts and problems that you find with all of the other models. So, like I say, if you got access underneath the platter to get into the plastic cover, take it off if the seller allows you to do so. Have a look at the connections. I know there was a lot of faffle online and people saying all sorts about my video that I did with Mojax. We were saying about fake Technics, etc. Look, there's no such thing as a fake Technics. Okay, we're gonna hit that now. No such thing as a fake Technics. Refurbished, yes. Fake, no. Panasonic Technics never made a fake version of a Technics turntable. There isn't another manufacturer out there that's selling anything with Techniques, as they call it in America, but Technics with different brands and things on it. There's no fake Technics anywhere. They do not exist. I'm going to squash that right now. The reason I said about fake turntables was quite simple. If you're going to buy a pair of these, say for an example, you're looking at these now and you were none the wiser. Someone sold these as a pair of gold Technics in original condition, but you know from looking at this, that's not original. But maybe the buyer that's looking at it doesn't realise that. Okay? If he's told they're original and he's never owned Technics before in his life, original condition, owned from new, blah, 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 and you get these and you give it to someone that have them serviced, such as myself or any other technician, they take the platter off and they take one look at this and go, you do realise these are refurbished. You might have a power supply that doesn't match the main board. Again, that's not a problem. The main boards on all of the models all pretty much fit each other. My M5G needs a bit of tinkering, but you can fit the older models onto each board. So, you know, a Mark 5 board inside a Mark II, a power supply from an older model and a newer one, it makes no difference. You're not going to deem anything, you know, devalue anything in that respect, because the person that's going to buy it's never going to see it. But it's when you start having the wrong base with the, you know, warranty stickers on the back, that sort of thing, like I explained before. The other thing people were going on about was when I started saying about cable ties, and I know it sounds petty, but you can tell what they look like and where the cable is routed. It's like me, if I took these apart, you can see quite obviously by the tightness of the cables, the angles, where the cables are physically put, you know, that they're original. And you can tell some of them have got like a yellowing colour to the cable ties. Some of them have nothing at all. It's the ones that have nothing at all that you need to be worried about. And any colour other than that gone off white colour. And again, it's petty to some people, but you will know the minute you look at it. If it hasn't got cable ties, it's not original. It's not original. There's no fabric ties holding down things either in certain places, like the M5G has them. Then it's been taken apart. And you just start asking the questions as why was it taken apart? You know, and who did the work? I don't think that's a bad thing. I don't think it's a bad way of putting it or a negative question to ask. And if the seller is genuine, then you will, you know, he'll answer your question. So if you're going to look at a pair of these that are in original condition, but the cable isn't the high quality original Technics unit that was on it, the high fidelity cable, and it was an aftermarket, a Van Dam or any custom cable, you know it's not an original cable. That means that this has been taken apart at some point to fit the cable. So you need to ask who fitted the cable, when was the cable installed, and was there any other work completed? If it's on a seller, they'll tell you. If it's not an on a seller, they'll lie and go, oh, the cable was replaced. You won't know. This is what I'm saying. And I hated the fact that I got so much backlash from the video that I did. I was just trying to be honest and, you know, and just say, look, be careful when you're viewing them because it's the same scenario with every model. Gold is no different. These will be sold as a refurbished if the customer ever sells them because they're customized. You can see it quite clearly. But some people don't realize they're customized. Some people think they're original. And that's where they'll get you. So be careful and Skype them out. If you're going to buy a pair secondhand at all, go and view these in person. I'd say the same thing with Mark IIs. I really would. Any turntable you go and view in person, you can do your homework, then you can look at things, you can check the arm, you can see if the bearings are functioning okay. If it has a head shell and stylus included, ask them if they can plug it in. You may find it's already connected. Most of the DJ turntables like these, you'll find they're already connected with a mixer, and then sellers are really that desperate to sell them, or if they are honest sellers, they'll have them connected, they'll have them in boxes, etc. They'll let you plug them in, they'll let you look at them. If they're that bothered about earning the money, that's exactly what they'll do. They'll go out of their way to show you what they are instead of just going, they are what they are, that's it. You know, just do your homework on them. So again, make sure that if you're buying a pair of gold Technics, the bearings are okay, because that will cost you a fortune. You can have them remilled, but personally, I just change the arm over. You get the best precision if you do that. It's going to cost you money, but it's the only real way of getting it perfect. Make sure that the gold's not flaking on the buttons. Make sure the same thing happens with the plaques. Make sure nothing's flaking. They're not too bad without them removed, but just make sure. You can pop replacement parts from all the older models on them, so that isn't necessarily an issue. But just be prepared if you do this. There are certain parts you're going to find that you won't be able to buy brand new. Okay, but yeah, check the trims. Make sure the gold's not flaking, because it can cost a lot of money. Now, look at it the other way. If you're looking at these and money's no object, buy anything you want. Take all the parts off, give them to a gold plater. They'll look spanking when you get them back. Me, I'd remove all the black on that, get them recoated, have the whole thing in gold. If money's no object, have all the buttons recoated. Or do you know what? Go completely over the top. Give them the plinth. Give them both plinths. Have the plinths recoated, have the platters done, have everything done on them. Go absolutely mental on them. The DMC versions were gold. Do you remember the DMC versions they gave away as a prize? So you could mimic the DMC versions, have the graphics reproduced. Plenty of options for you and scope on different ideas. But yeah, you can either use them as donor parts or go all out. But for the everyday DJ that's looking for a pair of these, that doesn't want to spend an arm and a leg, I'm sorry, that boat has really sailed now. I mean, these are only going up in value if they're in lovely condition. You tend to find ones that are in bad condition still going for a good couple of grand. And that's just the way things here are here over in the UK. You might find it differently outside of the UK. But yeah, especially here in the UK, it's very, very bad. Things tend to be overpriced quite a lot. And if they are, if they are genuinely overpriced, a lot of people are very firm on their prices too, because they know that somebody at some point is going to spend the money and buy them. Someone's going to come and look at them and go, I'll have them. But it goes with anything. So just be careful. So this video isn't just aimed at the gold Technics. It's a bit of both between gold and what to look at when you're buying a set, really. But yeah, that's what we're going to end it on, I think, guys. Just wanted to quickly show you the gold Technics. I kind of went on to things to look out for on them. I'm going to do a video like stripping down an original turntable so you can actually see how things are from new, because I have got a few in at the moment that I do need to work on next week. So the next video I will be doing will be on a pair or a single turntable with the camera above or at the side, and I will show you things to look out for. So if someone is selling a turntable as new, never been taken apart, etc., these are things to look out for that you can happily do when round that person's home, shop, or whatever it is. And my advice, if they won't let you take the platter off and they won't let you remove the screws and they get a bit funny with you for wanting to check these things, the best advice is quite simple. Don't buy them. Walk and look elsewhere. Honest sellers will let you do it. If you go into a shop and they're selling them second hand and they claim they've been serviced, etc., then of course they're not going to let you take them apart, because you've got to trust in the seller in that respect. They'll give you a warranty as well. You get any problems, you take it back. But purely for private sellers, people that are selling them privately like that want quick cash sales, make sure you pay by products and services. Don't ever pay by friends and family unless you're there and you know for a fact everything's working as it should. I mean, even if you do products and services by PayPal, I'd even pay the fees to make it safe for you. Say, look, I'll pay you, but I'll pay the fees. Yeah, you'll pay a little bit more. But the idea is to knock them down on price so you cover the fees if things are not as good as they say. Without being dishonest in that respect, if it's not as clean as they make them out to be, then get the price down, work out the cost of the fees. That way it covers the fee cost, and if there's any problems, you can take them back. Don't let them just take you for a ride. And that's where we'll leave it, guys, for the minute. The next video is going to be me stripping down a single 1210 Mark II, so you can all see the internal conditions of a new turntable that's never been, never ever had anything taken apart. Not new as in box fresh, but something that's never been touched from factory. So then we can quash this whole fake Technics thing, completely gone out the window. You can see what to look out for. Because I was going to do a list a physical list on this so that you can then, you know, take it with you, so to speak, things to check. But it's better to show you on a video. I think it will set in your brain a lot easier things to check, because you can look at this video and go, right, check here, 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 you know, just check the basics. Then when you do go to this person's home or the shop, if they let you take it apart in the shop, then great. If they don't, then it's entirely up to you, because you've got a warranty. But there we go. So next video will be me taking apart a Mark II. And yeah, keep spinning, guys. Hope you enjoyed this video. Hopefully you don't get any negative ones out of this one. I'm only being honest. Any comments below, obviously I'll try and respond to as quick as I can. If you own a pair of Technics 1210 Mark IIs or whatever you've got, and you want to obviously say a few words on the bottom of the comments, feel free to do so. If you've got 1200 Limiteds or obviously the M5G versions, and you're happy with them and you want to send some pictures over, please feel free. The email is sales@justtechnics.co.uk. If you own a pair and you're happy with how these are, or you've got any questions about the limited edition versions of these, again, feel free to comment. I'll get back to you as soon as I can, but for now, we'll end it there. Cheers, guys. See you on the next video.